Welcome, you guys. Okay, we don't need any equipment today. We're just coming to the mat. Feet are about hip width apart, hands to the hips, and softness into the knees, lengthening up into the spine, shoulders relaxed, just hinging forward at the hips. And we're just starting to hinge forward and then press back up to standing. So hinging forward, all of the movement comes from the waist here, keeping the back of the neck and the head and the rest of the back in a nice long line. So it's kind of like the top of the body is just moving in that nice one piece. So keeping that softness into the knees. We're not locking the knees as we come up. Abs are engaged. Pelvis is in a nice neutral. Exhale as you drive up and inhale as you hinge forward. Exhale, driving up. Inhale, hinging forward. Awesome work. Warming up for this 20-minute workout. Full body. We are going to target every muscle. All right, and we just want you to stay in that hinge position, starting to lift one heel, then the other. Lifting up onto one heel, dropping the heel down, and then switching to the other side. Keeping the pelvis nice and still and steady here as you do this. Keeping everything nice and still. All we're doing is lifting up high onto the toe, then dropping it down, switching to the other side, keeping your weight even through both sides, so nice and even through the center, drawing the pelvic floor up and really drawing those low abs all the way through to the top abs as well. So keeping everything nice and still and stable. Okay, from here we're starting to reach the arms forward as you come up, and then you're pressing the hips back as you bring the hands in towards the hips. So you can use some little hand weights here if you want, but you don't need to. We're really wanting to bring the mind to the muscles that we are working. So bringing the mind to the shoulders, bringing the mind to the glutes, just a little bit of a kind of dip back by pressing the hips back and then pressing up to standing, keeping the weight even through both sides of the feet, not locking the knees. Exhale up, inhale, coming back down. Beautiful. Right, staying here, I just want you to bring your hands to your hips, and all we're doing here is we are lifting the left heel up, and you're sitting back into a little kind of a little semi-squat here as you reach the arms around and then bringing the hands into the heart center at prayer. So just keeping the pelvis nice and still, keeping that left heel up, and then we're switching over to the other side. So doing the same thing with the right heel lifted, reaching the arms forward, drawing the hands into prayer. Shoulders away from the ears. Beautiful work, core engaged, cool. All right, coming back through center, and then I just want you to lift that left heel up this time. We're just starting to do little pulses down. So just sitting back into a little half squat, starting to pulse, pulse, pulse. Awesome, switching to the other side, pulsing with the right heel lifted this time. Pulsing down, keeping the hips nice and square. Beautiful work. Weight is even through the center, right, pressing into the center. Okay, we're coming into a lunge, so I want you to put the right foot forward, the left heel presses back. We want to start to soften down into a nice lunge here, stationary lunge. Then you're pressing up, coming back through center. Let's switch it over to the other side. So the left leg is forward, the right leg is back. Just making sure that knee, the front knee, is not going past the toes. So we want to sort of just be lifting up and down into a little squat here. You can bring the hands together in prayer or bringing them to the waist for a little more stability and balance. Let's switch over. So I want you to bring the right leg forward this time. The left leg goes back. And then we're just starting to come down into that lunge. And then you're opening that back hip up and sort of a little curtsy down. So keeping everything nice and balanced. This is really, really challenging, keeping the core engaged, nice and strong here. Little lunge forward and then opening that back hip up as you come to a little side lunge. Beautiful work. Pressing up to standing. Let's change to the other side. You're bringing the left leg forward this time. We're going to do the same thing. So starting to lunge down and then open the right hip up and drop it down. Coming back through center, lunging and then opening that back hip up, pressing back. Keeping nice and strong through the core. The pelvis is in a neutral. Breathing. This is super challenging. If you're holding weights, it's even more challenging. Well done if you're doing that. All right, we're coming back through center and we're just taking a nice bow forward into a fold. So just letting the arms relax down, moving the head. Okay, coming up, let's start to move from side to side here, bringing the feet out to about shoulder width or wider apart. You can have the feet in a parallel position or slightly turning those toes out. We're starting to just move from side to side. So it's kind of a little side lunge from each side, really pressing into the outside edge of each foot as you press back up through the center and then coming to that other side, making sure that knee is not coming forward of the toes. Okay, so we really want to make sure that we're looking after the knees here. Keeping the belly in, shoulders relaxed, coming side to side. Awesome. And then staying on that right side, I just want you to start to do little pulses down, just little wee pulses at that halfway point, pulsing down, breathing in, breathing out. Awesome. And switching to the other side, left side, pulsing, 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 breathing deeply. You can do this. Doing so awesome, you guys. Keep it going and back through center. Amazing work. All right, shake it out. Let's fold forward again. Nice release here of the head and neck. Letting the arms relax down, maybe grabbing hold of the legs somewhere, the outside of the ankles, maybe the back of the knees. You might want to twist over gently to one side and just kind of stay there for a little bit. Finding what feels good and taking a couple of deep breaths. Relaxing everything down, maybe walking the hands across to the other side and doing the same, just relaxing here. Letting the head and neck release. Breathing in, taking a very well-earned break here. Now I just want you to come down onto the mat into a child's pose position. So sitting back towards the heels. And then we're starting to press into a half plank position. So you want to have the shoulders in line with the wrists, link through the back of the head, neck, and the rest of the back. Then dropping the pelvis down, so dropping the hips down towards the mat. And then you're starting to press back, so pressing the heels back, then rounding the spine, coming forward, dropping the belly down, pelvis comes down, and then rounding the spine as you press back. Pressing those hips back towards the heels and dropping the belly down, opening up through that heart center, looking up, rounding back. So bringing the navel to spine as you round back, sitting back, then dropping down, letting the pubic bone drop down as you open the heart and then coming all the way back. We're just coming down onto the forearms. We want to have the knees in line with the hips. You want to have the feet about hip width apart, so the tops of the feet are connected onto the mat. Finding nice length through the back of the neck, so letting the gaze be down or slightly forward. We're just starting to lift the right knee up and then lowering it back down. So lifting up and then coming down, keeping the foot in a neutral position. So not really pointing the toe and not really flexing the foot either. Trying to relax the toes, relax the feet. We're working here into that smile line underneath the glute. So just imagining you're really using your core as well as that glute to lift the leg up and lower it down. Beautiful work. This time we're just going to bring the leg up. When we lower the knee down, we're going to bring the foot out to the side, then bring it back through center and pressing the foot back up. So the toes point, come out to the side, knee then comes back through center, and then pressing back up. Keeping everything nice and still and stable, so it's only the leg moving here. Everything else is stable. You're pressing those forearms down into the mat, so you're keeping the shoulders engaged and away from the head, core, nice and strong, letting the core drive the move as well as that glute, lifting up, coming out, and beautiful work. Breathing deeply. Doing amazing. Should be feeling this. Amazing work. Okay, take a moment, coming back through center. I want you to step that right foot forward, coming to a little kind of lunge position here, a low lunge. Just letting some length come into the spine, and then you're starting to lift the toes towards the face, pressing the belly towards the leg as you let the head and neck go, finding some nice stretch through the back of the leg. Try not to lock the knee, little hamstring stretch, and then starting to come back into that lunge again. And then you're just coming back to your tabletop position. You're dropping the pelvis down, opening the heart up, shoulders away from the ears, starting to bring the hips back as you engage into the core, and then rounding the spine, opening the heart up again, and then coming back. So exhale, sitting back towards the heels. Inhale as you start to open up through that front side of the body, dropping the hips, and then pressing back as you start to bring the belly towards the top of the legs. This should feel really, really nice. Just moving at your own pace here with this. And then when you're ready, just dropping down onto those forearms again. Let's switch over to the left side with that lift of the knee, keeping the foot in a nice neutral. You're lowering the knee down and then pressing the foot up towards the ceiling. So we're not lifting the leg too high to a point where you're feeling any tension in the low back, making sure that you're really using the glute muscle to lift the leg. So it's the glute as well as the core that is kind of driving this movement rather than using the back in any way, keeping the back nice and neutral. Okay, let's bring the foot to the side next time. So you're bringing the foot down, out to the side, back through center, lifting up towards the ceiling. Awesome. Staying nice and strong and stable, feeling that strength. You should be able to feel some strength happening in the upper body too, and the shoulders as you stabilize here, as you press those forearms down into the mat, keeping everything nice and strong. Gaze is slightly forward or down so that you're not bringing any tension into the neck. Awesome work. Pressing up, down and out, back through center and up, down and out, back through center. Breathing deeply. Amazing work. Okay, let's drop the pelvis down, opening that heart center, looking up towards the ceiling or straight ahead. Taking a nice little stretch here. And then stepping the left foot forward between the hands. And then we're just taking a little moment to drop those hips down and then start to lift the toes towards the face. Just let the head and neck relax down. Belly comes towards the top of the leg. And pressing back, finding that hamstring stretch. And then coming back to the center, and we're going to come to a nice child's pose. So just sitting back towards the heels, big toes together, knees out wide, lengthening the arms forward, forehead relaxing down to the mat, and just taking a beautiful break here. A few breaths. Lovely. Now coming all the way up, we're going to allow the body to lay over towards the right side. So you're resting your head on your arm here. You've got your top arm and hand supporting, placed on the mat. We're just starting to lift the top leg up and lower it down. We want to make sure the hips are stacked and in line here. you've got a little bit of a lift up out of the side waist, so that the side waist is not really sort of fully connecting down onto the mat. So you're making sure the core is engaged. You're lifting up and lowering down. So nice parallel leg. The knee shouldn't be turning inward or really outwards. You're keeping the knee straight ahead. Awesome work. Lifting up, and then this time we're going to bring the knee forward, pressing it back out to that lengthened position. So bending the knee in, then pressing it out. Bending it in, pressing it out. Amazing work. Keep this going. Try not to rock around in the pelvis. So keeping the whole body still, it's only the leg moving. So that top leg is moving, your bottom leg and hip is needing to really kind of stabilize here. Your core is keeping you stable. You can use the top hand to kind of help you here as well with that stability. Amazing. Keeping this going, really working here into the glutes, pressing the heel out and bringing that knee forward. I want you to stay here with that. Coming up to cradle the head in the hand. And then we're just coming all the way to lengthen the arms out into a T. A nice twist here. Supine. Stretch here. Just letting the head maybe relax and sort of look over the left shoulder in the opposite direction to what the leg is. Just letting the arms relax down, taking a few breaths. It should feel awesome. And then coming back to cradle your head in your hand, stacking the hips here, keeping that knee bent. The shin is in line with the front of your mat. And then we're just lifting the bottom leg up and down. So we're going to work into the inner thigh here. So keeping that top leg, so that should be your left leg, nice and still while the bottom leg is moving. Little baby lifts up and down. So we are just starting to really work into that inner thigh and release. Now you're starting to just bring the top leg up and over, kind of a rainbow here with the leg. So you are lifting up, lowering down, and then lifting up, tapping the toes behind the leg. Awesome. Try not to rock forward and back. So keeping the core really, really strong and engaged. And just starting to move through that leg. This is quite challenging for stability. Really does challenge your balance here with this. You've got to keep really strong and stable through the core. Trying to keep everything still except for that leg, except for the hips. You're really opening that hip out as you bring it back. And then you're closing it as you bring it forward. Awesome. And then we're just going to switch over to the other side. So coming over to lay on your left side, allowing your head to relax onto the arm. We want to have the legs directly out to the side so that you've got your hips stacked. You can use that top hand to support you here. We're just lifting that top leg up and lowering it back down. So just lifting up and lowering down, really bringing your mind to the outer thigh and the hip, the outside of that hip that we're working here. So allowing the leg to kind of flow up and down freely without too much of a gap between. All right, so let's do the knee bending forward and pressing that leg back out again. So knee comes forward and then pressing the leg out. Awesome. So the leg can come slightly back as it presses out, but making sure you're not rocking backwards, making sure that you're not rocking forward. You're kind of staying with those hips nicely stacked here. You can imagine that you're sort of pressing the heel back. So it's like you're sort of standing with that foot nice and flexed. Really working into the hips here as well as the outer thighs. Amazing. Now just resting that leg, letting it stay still in front of you, starting to lift and lower that bottom leg. So we're working into the inner thigh. Little lifts up and down. Breathing deeply. Lifting and lowering. Deep breaths. Finding that awesome breathing pattern. Awesome. Right. So let's do that nice twist. So just starting to let the head come through center, letting the arms be wherever they feel comfortable, gazing over in the opposite direction to what the leg is going. Just to find some nice length through the side of the neck. Trying to keep both shoulders connected down onto the mat. Amazing. And then coming back through center. And cradling the head in the hand. We're going to do that rainbow with the leg. So lifting the leg up and tapping the toes behind. Coming back over. And then placing the shin down. Really ensuring you are not rocking around. We want to try and stay still and stable. We're coming toward the end of our workout today. So good, you guys. You should feel really, really proud of the work you've done today. No equipment, but goodness, it definitely does. It does burn. It's amazing. Awesome. You can always add some ankle weights too anytime if you want to make this even more challenging too. Ankle weights, even wrist weights or hand weights. Cool. Now just hugging the knees in towards the chest, just laying onto your back. Finding a little rock maybe from side to side, relaxing the belly, a few deep breaths, letting the length of the neck be nice and long. Just going to do a nice figure 4 here, so crossing the left ankle in front of the right knee, and then you're just squeezing the right leg in towards the chest using your hands. Keeping the hips nice and lengthened down. Pelvis heavy. Breathing in, breathing out. And when you're ready, switching over to the other side. Right ankle crosses over the left knee. Hugging the left knee in towards the chest. Relaxing all the muscles of the belly, the core, pelvis. Nice stretch here through the glute. And awesome. Bringing the legs up. You might just come to a little happy baby to finish off. So grabbing hold of somewhere on the legs, maybe the outside of the feet, lengthening the tailbone, lengthening everything here, pressing down with the hands. So using your hands to sort of pull down. So knees are about shoulder width apart. Nice hip stretch. Breathing in. Breathing out, maybe letting the legs come into a little butterfly here, bringing the soles of the feet together or the arches of the feet together. Knees out wide. Breathing in. Breathing out. You've done so well today, you guys. Thank you for joining me. I can't wait to see you again for our next workout.